Hey guys, Zelonius here. Welcome to another video on the channel. In this video today, we are going to look at the best 5 formations post-patch on FIFA 23. Are you fed up of getting out-teamed on FIFA? Want that God squad that you've always dreamed of? Check out MMOEXP and use code ZEL at checkout for a 5% discount. Check out the link below. MMOEXP, the best place to buy coins. Okay, so we've had a few days to play the patch. I'm going to be qualifying for Weekend League later tonight, and not lots changed, I'd say, in the patch in terms of game-breaking stuff. I think the press is somewhat noticeably different. Does that have a big enough effect on the game to really change what formations are viable or not? I don't particularly think so. I think there wasn't any massive changes to any particular formations or any particular passing or movement thing that's affected them. Maybe some formations are a little bit better at playing against the press though. That's one thing that I would say. So a formation like the 4-2-3-1, which might not have been as good against the press before, now might be really good because you've got all the players coming short for it. Where the 4-3-2-1 will still be good in terms of it's still got 3 options in behind. But let's go look at the ones we like. So you can clearly see the ones that I'm using right now. The 4-2-2-2 is the one that I use for the majority of the game. We're just going to go through formations here and pick the 5 that I like the most. So you've got 30 formations on FIFA. A lot end up being quite similar, but for me, there tends to always be a few that are very consistent across the board. The first one that we're going to talk about is the 4-2-3-1. Now, for every formation, I'm going to say what type of players are going to like it, the strengths of it, the weaknesses of it, and why I think it's good on FIFA 23. So, for 4-2-3-1, I think without doubt it is the best beginner formation on FIFA. It's very solid. It doesn't have any massive weaknesses in general. It's very consistent. It's very good defensively. It's good for keeping the ball. It's probably even better now against the press, which is a really useful thing to have. This could be the go-to formation now to see out a game when you're getting pressed. So I think it'll be good at keeping the ball. It's also as defensively solid, and you can get width out wide with the ram, and then the striker down the middle can get in behind. Its major weakness, if it has any compared to other formations, is its lack of 2 strikers. Its lack of 2 strikers definitely does affect the build-up. I think a lot of people like playing with 2 strikers. It's never really been my favourite formation on FIFA, I would say. I think not having 2 strikers definitely hinders a formation a bit. So it's not my favourite, but I still think it's got enough going about that it'd be top 5. I think its major strengths for FIFA 23 is it's going to be like, there's never going to be a FIFA really when it's a bad formation. It's just so balanced, so solid, so good across the board. Like I say, if you're new to the game, this would be the formation that I would recommend to use. Okay, so that's our first one. We've got 5. The second is going to be the 4-4-2. Now for this you can use the second variation as well. I think on some FIFAs the second variation was better because having CDMs definitely was noticeable in terms of the difference that they offered. CDMs would just sit deeper on the edge of the box and defend more, whereas centre mids wouldn't. Whereas in this game, it's fairly similar, but centre mids offer more going forward. So I don't think there's if you use this variation or that one, it's major difference compared to some of the FIFAs. But the 4-4-2, similar to the 4-2-3-1, pretty much, except for you get the 2 banks of 4 a bit more, so the lam and ram become right mid, left mid, and then the cam becomes a striker. So you don't have the weakness of no 2 strikers, but you don't have the 5-man midfield that's a bit better at keeping the ball and a bit better defensively. This is probably a slightly more attacking formation, but slightly less good defensively. If you want to be just perfect balance, this is probably it, just perfect balance across the board. On FIFA 23, it's just very good because you have the 2 strikers for the build-up, you've still got 2 flat banks of 4 to defend, then you get the width with the left mid, right mid. Okay, for our third, we're going to talk about the 4-2-2. Now, the 4-2-2 is my favourite. My second favourite is going to be the one afterwards, which is going to be the 4-3-3-5. But the 4-2-2, probably even better again now after the patch. It was already pretty good against the press. Generally, to be good against the press, so post-patch, any formation that's good against the press is probably going to be even better now. You have to have options. You have to have a way of playing out of the back. And having width 2 strikers like this formation is really good. This is honestly a bit of a hybrid of the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1. it tends to take the strengths of those formations and keep them, and doesn't really have the weaknesses as much. On some FIFAs, I don't think it's quite as good as the others, but I think the three formations that we've said are pretty much staples of FIFA. They're good every year. You're never going to have a FIFA where one of these formations is just completely unviable. I think maybe the 4-2-3-1 could be the one that could be like that if there was a FIFA where not having two strikers just completely killed you, but I can't really see that happening. The 4-2-2 though, solid. The type of players that want to use it, players who want to win, it's probably the best meta formation on the game, and who doesn't want to win. I think in terms of its strengths, it's got really good width, getting in behind with the Lamb and the Ram. It's got the two strikes for build-up, two CDMs who are very good at protecting the back four. It's good at keeping the ball. You've still got your four defenders. And then in terms of any weakness, it's not having that cam really. That cam, there's a bit of a gap between the midfield. You could say that would be in the 4-4-2 as well. But in the 4-4-2, the centre mids are pushed up a bit. But what I do with that is I change one of the CDMs to balanced attack so he gets forward. And that weakness of like the gap between the midfield and strikers doesn't seem to be as noticeable. The 4-2-2, absolutely brilliant. Now the 4-3-3-5, this is a formation that I really love. It was recommended by one of my patrons, and I was quite apprehensive at first, thinking, well, I haven't used the 4-3-3 properly since maybe like FIFA 18. So I gave it a try, and I've not looked back since. It's amazing, absolutely love it. Probably, well, not even probably, it is the best attacking formation I've used this year. And by that I mean a formation that you can play as a default and still attacking it. It's brilliant going forward. It's just so solid across the board as well. Its weaknesses, a little bit defensively, you can get overwhelmed on the counter attack, but in terms of the strengths, it's the best attacking formation I've used. It gives you a crazy amount of options. If you want to play a formation that's really good at attacking but also a bit different, fun to play, then this is probably the one I'd recommend for you. It gets your fullbacks going forward. It gets loads of options to pass around the box. It's very hard for your opponent to play against, and it's going to give you a lot of passing options, which most formations don't tend to give you on this game. Now for the fifth, we could have gone for like the 4-3-1-2 or the narrow diamond, but I'm going to go for, I think, the 5-2-1-2. I liked the 5-1-2-2 when I was learning the game, but I just think it's a little bit meh going forward. Whereas the 5-2-1-2, very good formation this year. The only problem with the 5-back formations I find is you have to get the full, or not even the fullbacks, the wing backs to attack and overlap because you need width. If you don't have width at all on FIFA, as soon as you start to get to the higher divisions, you are going to get punished by good players. No width just makes it very hard to defend. Not defend, break people down. So you get width with the wing backs, but then you get counter attack down the wings, and it pulls your centre backs out and leaves positions in the middle. So honestly, if your opponent doesn't attack quick, this is a very hard formation to break down. But if your opponent attacks at pace, it's very easy to get counter-attacked in this. However, in terms of keeping the ball, this formation is absolutely cracked. You have great width with the wing-backs, you have 3 men in midfield, and one of my favourite parts of it is that triangle in the middle of the cam and 2 strikers. A cam and 2 strikers on FIFA is always going to be amazing for build-up play. You can interchange it with them, and it's so hard for people to defend against it. So any formation that has that is definitely going to be good at attacking. Like I say, I just think some of the things you have to sacrifice in this formation hold it back compared to some of the best ones, but I still think it's top 5. Some shout-outs for formation that I think can be pretty good still. 3-5-2, 5-1-2-2, 4-3-1-2, 4-1-2-1-2, 4-3-2-1. Honestly, I think 4-3-2-1, where is it? I honestly think this, in the right hands, is probably the best formation in the game. Ethan Higgins of Footwiz, who just won the recent Pro tournament, used this formation. A lot of pros use it. My problem with it is, I think for the average user, which is people watching these videos, I think it's hard to fully replicate it. I am going to try to do a video on it this week. I'm going to put a bit more effort into looking into some research for what pros are using for the tactics. And with that, I'm then going to adapt it a bit, tweak it, and do a tactics video on myself. So yeah, it is a great formation, but do I think it's the absolute best? Yes, maybe at the highest level, but for the average player, probably not. Appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, keep it spicy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.